Anyway, yay, we're live. Whew. I am tired.
Same.
But I am happy. I am excited. Hi, Lisa. What's up?
You have little hair.
Is everybody doing anything?
This one is sticking straight up.
Whoops. See, I love you.
Yep.
But,
You want the peanut butter one?
I think those are the ones that have gelatin.
Mm-hmm.
So I'll have this raspberry milkshake. Oh.
Yeah, it does.
Yep.
Hi.
Oh, you gotta eat yours.
Oh. I have peanut butter.
I have raspberry, which I swear has hints of wasabi. I remain convinced.
See, the raspberry is good, but it also has like a hint of other flavor.
Mm-hmm.
Like I was getting a hint of nail polish salon.
I'm getting wasabi. It's like a little spicy, but not really.
Salt.
Hmm?
Salt.
Hmm?
Like salt
Black salt.
for eggs.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so what sort of... I came into this without a single plan in mind.
Sounds like you.
Yep, totally. So now I'm
That
trying
actually
to...
doesn't sound like you at all.
Huh? I could...
Unless they're too personal.
Some of them definitely are. I figure we could find Mr. Pinguino.
Yeah, this is Mr. Pinguino.
We went to the aquarium yesterday.
He's super cute.
What type of is he?
Black-footed penguin. African black-footed penguin.
I just had an idea.
What?
What if we threw it back to the original, like the first video that I ever made on the channel, and we tried to answer all the questions that I had in the video to see if anything changed, and also now that he is she, they, he got it. I think that could be fun. So let me see if I can find. I hope the link is still active.
Why wouldn't it be?
Oh, because they change the questions from time to time.
Getting pecked by a penguin.
Nice. Your video. What's going on?
You know how to read this?
Alright, here it's called Root Report. Does it still work? Does the link still work?
Looks promising.
Yep, there we go. Last update on July 7th, 2018. Okay.
Okay. It did process.
Sweet. Okay. So, you ready to get started?
Sure.
Alright. So, the first question on this tag is, are you named after anyone?
Yes, kind of.
Are you?
I was named after a chicken.
Sorry.
Yeah, my parents really wanted a daughter, but they had a whole lot of trouble conceiving. So they got a chicken and named her Emily. And then they had me, and they're like, we're gonna name her Emily. So, yeah. Isn't he cute? He is cute.
So I named myself after a video game character that I created to represent myself. So, have I told you the story?
Yes.
Yeah. So, for the longest time, I couldn't decide what I wanted to call myself. And so, when I was creating this video game character, that my whole family played this one MMORPG. And so I was like, hey, I am going to choose whatever name I choose is going to be the name I go by, and so that way my family can get used to referring to me as this name. And so it just so happened that the name Madeline stuck out to me, and so I went with it. And so I technically named myself after a video game character who I also named after myself. Who I named after a video game character. It's like this weird loop. And also the name Madeline is after the name Mary Magdalene. Madeline. But I didn't name myself after her. That's just a fun coincidence. Cool. I feel like this one's loaded. It's heavy. But it's when was the last time you cried?
Ooh. I feel like you know this answer.
I feel like I do not.
Okay. I don't know.
I'm pretty sure the last time I cried was when I was in the hospital.
Yeah.
My name came to me while I was listening to I Love You. Nice.
Nah.
Gotcha. But, yeah, no, so a few weeks ago I went to the hospital because I was having some not so healthy thoughts, and there was one day when I'm like, holy crap, I don't know when I'm going to get out of here, and I freaking broke down crying. It was bad. Which is not, I do not say that to scare anyone away from going to the hospital if they need to go to the hospital, but it was an intense situation, and so that's the whole story there.
I think that was also the last time I cried because your mom texted me saying like that you were being sent back, and it was like, I'm gonna miss it.
Yeah.
I missed it.
Yeah.
And then we got to video call.
Yeah.
Illegally.
Forbidden video calls. Okay. If you remember. Gotcha.
Nice.
Sweet. All right. Do you have kids? If no, how many do you want? So the answer, I can answer for both of us. No, we don't have kids. But then the question is, how many do you want?
We have pets.
We do have pets. We have 3 pets. We added a new snake to our menagerie since the last time we went live. Her name is Lilith.
She's a cutie. We can't play with her yet. We have to wait till next Thursday.
Yeah, just get her acclimated to the new environment. But going back to the original question.
How many do you want?
I asked you first.
Oh. 2?
I've always said 2 or 3.
Okay. Cool. We're on the same page. If you want to adopt at like 5 or 6 years old, I would adopt at like 11, 12 years old.
Yeah. Yeah. So growing up, I would always watch these stories, specifically like Christian ministry stories. But like it's always like we always knew we wanted to adopt, and we wanted to adopt one child, and then it just so happened that that one child had 3 other siblings, and we couldn't separate the family, so we adopted them all. And I'm like, I feel like that is how our story would go.
That would be expensive.
Yes, they were wealthy. They did. I don't think they had much to worry about in terms of like.
Howdy.
Howdy. Okay. If you were another person, would you be a friend of yourself?
Depends on what kind of person the other person I was.
I would imagine that it's literally like a clone.
Oh.
Like, if you met someone else who was exactly like you, would you be their friend?
I think so. I hope so.
You're pretty neat.
Something.
You're pretty neat.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm. And I also think that I would, honestly, like, despite the occasional self-loathing, I think that I'm pretty, I don't know, I have a lot of traits that I happen to actually like, and I think I'd be friends with myself. Okay. Do you use sarcasm a lot?
Not as much as I used to.
Really?
Maybe I do.
No, you're not that sarcastic, I think. I'm just curious to see what you were like earlier.
You'll never know.
No, I won't. Do I use sarcasm a lot?
Not really.
I feel like I'm so I feel like I'm definitely punny to the point of it being a fault. I don't think. I don't know. I don't think I'm really that sarcastic. I like to think of myself as clever and witty, but there are ways to do so that aren't biting as sarcasm tends to be. Yeah. What's the first thing you notice about people? Am I supposed to be reading your mind? Oh, gotcha. Okay. So for me, I think I mostly notice other people's eyes. But more recently, since I haven't been able to get close enough, like my pre-COVID answer would be eyes, because like I'm generally accustomed to looking people in the eye, but since COVID has started, I haven't really been able to do that all that often, because in order to look into someone's eyes, you kind of have to get pretty close to them. So now I'd probably say hair. Like, I've kind of fallen into the not mentality, but like, I don't know. Like, I compliment people's hair a lot, especially if it's like a bright, vibrant color, because I think that's really exciting. Whew. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and put this to the side for now. Okay, so another announcement that I don't think I've announced on the channel yet. I haven't announced in the community tab yet, but your girl's engaged. And I'm really oh god, my hands are so dry. Pay attention to the ring. Don't pay attention to my hands. But yeah, no, I got engaged last Friday. No, Saturday. It was a Saturday because I went down to Salisbury on Friday. And then came back on Saturday. And I kind of love telling this story, so I'm going to tell it again. So this happened last week, and my mom texted me and was like, "Hey, do you want to come down to visit for a little bit?" And initially, I was honestly going to say no, because like I was pretty busy that weekend, and I was like, I don't really have time to visit right now. But I figured, you know what? Hey, why don't I get my stuff done? So, M was like, "Hey, I actually think you should go down and visit your family. It's good for your mental health, and as someone who just got out of the hospital for my mental health, you know, I figured, thank you." But we figured it would probably be a good idea for my mental health. And so I went down. Why am I dissociated right now? Pushing through. Came back the next day, and M wasn't in the apartment, which surprised me. And so I texted her and asked her where she was, if everything was okay. And she told me to check the outside of Tessa's cage. Tessa's our snake, right? And so there was a note taped to the outside that said, "Read me." And so I opened it up, and it let me know that I was going to be going on a scavenger hunt. And so, dissociation hitting hard. Um, what was it talking about? Engagement. Okay. So I went on a scavenger hunt through the apartment, and the last card told me to text her. And so she texted me. I texted her for the last clue, and she gave me an address, which was a couple towns over. And so I got dressed up because she told me to get dressed up, and I met her at this location, and it was clearly a wedding venue. And I was like, okay, what's going on? This is interesting. And she said, well, I've been looking at some places to get married, and I thought that this might be a good place to get married one day. And so I'm like, okay, cool, that's really, really neat. Because we've been talking about getting married for a while, so this was nothing particularly new to me, the idea that we'd finally be touring a location. And so she showed me around the venue, and then she led me into this room, and there was a camera flash. And I immediately thought, like, oh no, I'm in the wrong room. So I turned around, and Em, like, kind of pushed me in. And I'm like, okay, what's going on? And so I looked around, and it was absolutely a beautiful room decorated with candles and flower petals. And it was just absolutely lovely. And so, she led me to the front of the room, and I saw on the table there was a geode that you could, like, open. And I'm like, huh, could it be? Is it happening? Is it happening right now? And it was, in fact, happening right then. And so she asked me if I would marry her, and I said yes. So, yeah. And then we had a photo shoot afterwards, which was really lovely. But yeah, lots of fun. I really, really appreciate it. Oh my goodness. Oh, in that tone of voice? I think it's not. Yeah, no, I thought it was a really good idea too, Emerson. You know, I really, really loved it. I'm someone who, for the longest time, I've loved things like escape rooms and puzzle games and whatnot, and so it really, I really appreciated the fact that it's so accurately reflected, like, who we are and who I am, and it, like, just like, it felt like it was just really a way of saying I appreciate you for who you are, and so it's just really, really nice. So how's everyone else today? I've been monologuing for a while now. I heard a Miss Bun. Is she coming? Is she on her way? I don't think you have good peeps. I'm glad you're good. Stimmy? I am doing pretty good. Right now I'm mostly just tired, and I don't actually know why I'm so tired because I slept really well last night. But I know I had a lot of anxiety going into filming today because I finally filmed a video, like finally first video of 2021. Yay. Hallelujah. And so I think I've kind of just been drained after that just because we were also really dissociated while filming. Like, I don't think we actually switched, although it'll be fun to review the footage to see what happened there. But, it's just really difficult to, like, hold on to focus and hold on to everything that was going on because it was just really, really difficult. Similar to right now, but it was, I think, a little bit more intense when I was filming. So yeah, that's about where we are right now. Just tired from potential switches. We ate dinner and then took a nap right before hopping on here. And once we hop off, I think we're gonna end up both taking another nap. You do? Yeah. But yeah, how is everyone else? Also, while we're talking, if you have any ideas for things we can do during live streams, that would be awesome. Because I enjoy going live. I just never know. Well, not never. We've only gone live, 3 times on the channel? And the first time was very, very structured. I knew exactly what I was going to do. I went into it saying, this is going to be a poetry reading, and it was a poetry reading. But then last time was a little bit more spontaneous, and we ended up doing the Bean Boozled challenge and having a lot of really good conversations about, like, DID and OCD and things like that. So, like, really good conversations. And then today, we started off doing the get to know me tag questions, which was really off the fly, but I'm not really sure. I could read more poems, possibly. Possibly. Well, what poems do I have on the ready that I'm willing to read? I could read this. So there's this one poem I wrote for a class I was in last semester. And so I'm in divinity school, which is basically grad school where the primary focus of study is religion, theology, and ministry. And so the assignment was to create a piece of artwork. Same. I'm not completely useless with ideas, but like they come at random for me. And so if I don't have them, then it's just like. So this assignment was to write about a time when you've been ministered to. And so I decided that most people are going to talk about Christian ministry because most people there are Christians. And so I specifically wanted to do non-traditional ministry. And specifically, I wanted to see if I could do like non-religious ministry. Because one thing for me is that I don't necessarily believe that ministry has to exist within the confines of of religion. I think that you can definitely have ministry outside of religion. And so I decided to write a poem about this time when I was ministered to by the cast of Wicked. Specifically, when I was in high school, I absolutely fell in love with the song Defying Gravity. It became kind of my anthem. It kind of became my, like, go-to, like, this is what's going to get me through high school. And it did, especially, as a young queer person who was going through to an overwhelmingly conservative Christian school. It kind of felt lonely and ostracizing, especially when the teachers were telling you that you were wrong and that you were going to hell, etc. And so it was definitely a really big... This song really got me through a lot of those difficult times, and so I decided to write a poem about that. Hello. My day is going pretty well. I filmed a video earlier. We went and got dinner, and now we're here. So yeah, how's your day going? Also, I'm going to go ahead and read this poem. Let's hope that I can remain grounded and not dissociated enough to give it the inflection it needs. Right. You ministered to me, and you probably don't even know my name. No, scratch that. You definitely don't know my name. Still, you changed my life. Y'all changed my life. Changed the life of a 17-year-old girl who... I guess I didn't realize I was a girl then. I just knew, deep down within my bones, that I was different. On the one hand, I kind of liked being different. I mean, who wants to be the same as everyone else? But on the other hand, I wanted to feel welcome. And it's hard to feel welcome when you act different than everyone else, and think different than everyone else, and believe different than everyone else, when you used to be just like everyone else. Things were so much easier when I was their golden child. They still thought I was their golden child. But I knew that something had changed within me, and that I could never go back to the person I was. That's where y'all come in. I was lonely, surrounded by people who said they loved me, but could only see the memory of who I once was. And you know how you stumble across those songs that just perfectly describe what's going on in your life? Like it was sent directly from above? Yeah, your song was that for me. And I know I'm probably going to sound like one of those weirdo superfans who believes that their artists write songs for them personally, but like, if you knew how many times I whispered the words of that song to myself while walking through those hallowed halls where I first learned to hate myself, you'd understand why I believe those words to be divinely inspired. My classmates had their favorite hymns, but I had Glee and musical theater. So you can imagine my exhilaration when my mom told me I would get to see y'all in person. To this day, I cannot explain how much it meant to see you soaring above the crowds, letting the world know that you are the hero of your story, no matter what anyone else may say or think or do, that I could be the hero of my own story, no matter what anyone else may say or think or do. The stage went black, and when the lights came back on, it felt like I was flying too. This is sacred. This is holy. This is gospel. Thanks. But yeah, that's a poem I wrote for last semester, and it was received really well. Like, I was a little bit nervous that, like, someone would try to say, well, that wasn't real ministry or what have you, but, like, they totally didn't. They were like, wow, that I'm glad you had that experience. And so that meant a lot to me. That, people at my school were open to other types of ministry. Thank you. Is this one? I'm trying to see if here's another one. So this one, I want to give trigger warnings for discussion of, like, domestic abuse and religious trauma, so it's a little bit heavy in that regard. But this song was written, it wasn't written for a class, but it was written after a class because I was really kind of struggling with the subject matter that we were talking about in class. So basically what happened is we were in my Old Testament course going over the book of Hosea. And the book of Hosea is somewhat... Okay. Thank you! Yeah, so this poem is about my response to the book of Hosea, which the book of Hosea is basically about God being mad at Israel because Israel had been worshiping other gods. And so God basically says, you're my wife, you cheated on me, Israel, and so these are all of the things I'm going to do, like, out of revenge. And in the end, he kind of ends up saying, well, by the way, I've changed my mind. I'm actually going to forgive you. Come back to me, and we'll pretend like I never said any of those things, and you never did any of those things. So kind of like that's kind of how that wraps up. But it still kind of bothered me just the way that some of the language that was used really felt a lot like domestic abuse. And as someone who's been in somewhat of a I'd say toxic relationship with that particular deity, I kind of wanted to write out my thoughts, especially since so many people were saying, well, that's in the Bible, but that doesn't represent the God that I know. And I'm like, well, it kind of represents the God that I knew. And so this poem came out of that. What's up? Nothing much. I filmed a video earlier today. We went to get dinner, we took a nap, and now we're here. And that's basically our day. How's your day going? All right, so I'm going to go ahead and read this. The poem is called Devotion. And again, trigger warnings for domestic abuse and religious trauma. Nothing is super explicit, but like if you've experienced either of those things, it could still be triggering. I wrote so many songs about you. Sometimes they get stuck in my head, or caught in my throat, or taste like bile on my tongue. I've been afraid of you for as long as I've known you. Dedicated my life to you, promised I would die for you, but nothing I did ever guaranteed that you wouldn't hurt me. Did you enjoy watching me throw myself at your feet as I begged for my life? No, seriously, I want to know. Because all I ever got from you was silence. And for as long as I live, I'll never understand why I didn't leave sooner. Maybe I enjoyed the feeling of your hand around my neck. My friends and family tell me that you're actually a really cool guy, and that I shouldn't judge you based on the people who call you their friend. I want to believe them. God, I wish I could believe them. But I remember who I was when I was with you. I remember who you were when we were alone. I'm seeing someone else now. A few someone else's, actually. Technically a poly arrangement, but we're still working out the details. They make me feel confident, reassured, appreciated. They aren't perfect, but at least they don't pretend to be. So this is goodbye. I'll leave you with the memories of when I belonged to you, and I won't spare you another passing thought, at least until tomorrow. I don't know why I can't get over you. You're the best. Writing and music. Ooh, nice. What are you writing? I could guess that you're writing music, but I don't want to assume. Oh, thank you. A lot of random stuff is sometimes the way to go, in all honesty. But yeah, I've been writing a lot of poems about some, basically as part of my therapy session. I've been writing poems about like various like things that might be sources of trauma for me, and I'm trying to think if there are any that I want to share right now, because a lot of those are still really raw and vulnerable and like I'm tempted to read the one about racism, but I'm not sure. I feel like that one requires a lot of context and a lot of explanation. So what type of music do you write? Hold on. Let me see. Okay, I have a question. This is a super dumb question, but like, if I open up another file, can y'all see that? Like, are y'all able to see what's on? Like, I'm not sharing my screen, but like, I'm so used to Zoom calls where like, if I open up something else, then I could possibly like be sharing my screen, and that like that's an option that's available to me. And so I'm like, so let me go ahead and look for another poem because I really, really enjoy reading poetry. Ooh, okay. I forgot about this one, but I actually really like this one and I want to read it. Also, do give me feedback on if you can see stuff. Assuming. Yeah, no, honestly, I have no idea how YouTube streams work either. This is only my third one, and so I'm kind of just like going through. But I would imagine that if you could see what was on my screen, which is just like files and whatnot, but like files are boring to look at. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and read this one. This one is about police brutality and racism in America, so trigger warnings for that if that's something that upsets you. But yeah, basically I had something to say about the issue one day, and so I decided to sit down and write it. Also, I'll go ahead and give a trigger warning for religious imagery. I think I quote the Book of Revelations partially, and so there might be kind of like that language is like holy and like whatnot, and so I don't know if any words that just came out of my mouth made sense, but I gave it a shot. All right, here we go. An open letter to the cop who may one day murder me for being black in the wrong place at the wrong time in the wrong century. Hello. My name is Madeline Winter Jones, and you ought to know my name before it becomes a hashtag. Believe it or not, I don't hate you. And if we're being perfectly honest, I don't think you hate me either. I don't think you wake up in the morning hoping to be the last thing someone sees that evening. But I do think you think that you could get away with it. So with that in mind, let me say this. We are not hashtags. We are not target practice. Our necks are not altars for you to kneel upon so that you can pray to your false gods of white supremacy. Our bodies are not sacrifices to satiate the ravenous hunger of your fallen angels. Holy, holy, holy are these black and brown bodies buried by our ancestors who bear the weight of knowing that their babies' killers are still on the force. And when we baptize cities with holy fire, beating our breasts as we cry out for justice, know that this too is a sacrament. So to the cop who may one day murder me for being black in the wrong place at the wrong time in the wrong century, put down your gun. Let me put down my hands and join me in my solemn prayer that we'll both make it home tonight. But yeah, typically speaking, my poems. Aw, thanks. I think that's a thanks. But yeah, typically speaking, poems start as like a single concept that kind of just like grow and grow until it's done. Let's see, do I have any other poems hiding around? These are all new poems. So I've read a lot of my old poems in another live stream, so I don't necessarily want to like recap all of those. No word, I don't want you to open right now. Alright, I'm going to go ahead and read this one, and I think it's going to be the last one that I read. Oh, thank you. Yeah, I was talking to one of my best friends earlier today, and I was kind of wondering out loud if I could ever write a book of poetry, and we both kind of agreed that writing a book of poetry would be really difficult for me since so many of my poems demand to be spoken. And so she came up with the idea. She's like, "Why don't you produce an album of reading poetry and go from there?" And I was like, "That's a really good idea. I don't know if I will do that just because I have some really serious imposter syndrome and whatnot, but I don't know. I like the idea. It's a really good idea. So I'm toying with it in my head." Alright, yeah, this is going to be the last poem that I read, and then I think I'm going to call it a day for today. Hopefully I'll be able to do these more frequently coming up soon, because the reason why I remember I wrote that community post where I'm like, yeah, we can do this a lot more often, we can do this all the time, and then next thing I knew I was in the hospital, and then next thing I knew something else was happening, and something else was happening, and it's just kind of fortunately one of those things that was happening was me getting engaged, so no complaint there at all. I wanted to spend that weekend with my fiance. Sorry, I'm still getting used to saying fiance, and it's really exciting. But yeah, no, aw, thanks. That really, really means a lot to me. Thank you. But yeah, so I'm gonna go ahead and read this poem and then hop off for tonight, and then hopefully sometime either next Friday or Saturday we'll be able to do more things and keep the train going either Friday or Saturday every week. I really like the idea of doing weekly live streams in addition to uploading videos, so that way, there's a constant dialogue, constant interactions with all of y'all, because all y'all are really what make what I'm doing worth doing, because I really enjoy the engagement and the conversations and getting to know you. So yeah. Alright. I'm going to go ahead and read this poem. For context, I wrote this the day after I got engaged. And it was a really interesting feeling. Because on the one hand, I was over the moon happy that I was engaged and I had this beautiful ring on my finger and I'm getting married, and I was really, really excited. But on the other hand, my mental health was kind of just acting up that day. And so I didn't really know how to process that, because there was a part of me that felt guilty, because I'm I should be happier than I am, because yesterday was one of the most amazing days of my life. What's going on? What am I feeling? And so I wrote this poem that was kind of really trying to wrestle with the fact that wonderful things can happen, and at the same time your brain might not quite be right with it, if that makes sense. So it's called Wonderful. Good morning. It's a wonderful day filled with wonderful people and wonderful things. It's wonderful, isn't it? I think something happened to my smile. It's just a little broken, I think, because it doesn't always work when it should, on wonderful days filled with wonderful people. And wonderful things like this ring on my finger make my smile a lot less broken, but I'm already smiling less than I was yesterday, and I'm scared that my smile will soon be broken again. Maybe I'm the one who's broken. But days like yesterday make me love life. Life is quirky and awkward and strange, and I love that about her. She comes and she brings wonderful days and wonderful people and wonderful things, and then she's gone, quickly as she came, to bring wonderful things to people who need them more than me. And I know this makes me selfish, but I kind of wish she'd stay a bit longer sometimes. That would truly be wonderful. But yeah, I think that'll be my last poem for today. I do have some more that are either in the works or complete, but they're a little bit too vulnerable for me to just openly share right now, so that'll have to be like a couple of months thing after I process them myself and figure everything out and whatnot. But yeah, thank you so much for everyone who stopped by today. I'm really glad to talk everyone. Oh, thank you. Thank you, Molly. But yeah, no, I'm really glad that I do your partner. Thank you so much. Also, I have to ask, how is your first name pronounced? Sefi, Sifi. I want to make sure I get everyone's name right. But yeah, so Luna's fine with her. Sefi? Okay, I think I said Sefi first. Cool. Okay. Cool, got it. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and hop off. Thank you so much, everyone, for stopping by, and hopefully I'll see you again next week. Bye!